I am the Wolfman, and I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video. In the previous video, I showed how to take a primitive bow like this and do something called add serving to it, and that is to put a little piece of string here along the bow to make sure that the arrow doesn't fall off when you're knocking or pulling back the arrow. So, simply put, knocking is the process of taking the arrow and sticking it on the string. And again, it should go just like I showed in another video, just like this, and you should hear or feel that arrow snap on. There we go. You can actually hear that click. The reason that we want that is so now I can manipulate this bow and move it around and get it set up and get myself set up just like this to go here back and draw without this falling off. If I put it on an air, if I didn't have serving and I had just a string only, you can see is here, this is wiggly, it falls off like nothing else, right? Look at it falling around. So if I were to put that, if I didn't have serving and I had it on here, it's simply just going to fall off. It's going to just make a pain in the butt mess. Like I tell my students, what can happen is as you let the string go, if this isn't knocked properly, this can come off, the string is going to go forward, the arrow is going to go backwards, hit you in the eye, and then unfortunately it's going to reduce your Halloween costume choices. You'd be like, oh, pirates again? Man. So, the other question that people have, of course, is now that this is served properly, is where does it lie? Do I just lay it straight on here like this? Do I pull it back? Where do I put it? Up or down? Should it be sort of on an angle? They're not 100% sure. So in this quick video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set a knocking point using a couple of simple tools on a bowstring for a new shooter. Now again, just like in all things when it comes to archery and bushcraft and outdoor education, there are many ways to do this. This is the method that I'm showing, the one that we use at our school. Like any project, we are going to start by assembling our tools. We have a bow with some string on it and serving on that string. We have an arrow, which we are going to need. Make sure you're going to use the same diameter arrows that you're normally going to be used to shooting. We are going to have what are called knocking pliers. Now, you can use any kind of set of pliers. Because we run a school, of course, we have the correct tool for the job, but any pair of pliers will do. And you need something called metal knocking points. Now, I have put these on a sheet of white paper so you can kind of see how they look right there. And basically what they are is they're like a little C-shaped device, and how they work is they're just going to clip on the string. So let's start with this process. So the first thing I'm going to do is knock my arrow. All right, so I'm just going to flip my bow around here so I have my arrow rest up. Now again, this is a primitive bow, so it doesn't have a mechanical arrow rest. So it's going to sit just like this. I'm going to take my index feather and point it out, and I'm going to knock my arrow. And again, to knock an arrow, you should feel or hear it click. There we go. So that just should look like this. Now, if I were to draw my arrow back, looking just like this, what's going to happen is it's not going to stay straight when I stretch my string back. All right, it's going to twist the arrow. So, because I'm always going to use the same diameter arrows with this bow, I'm going to take my little knocking device and I'm going to put one on top, just like this. All right. Now, the reason you want to put this on the top is because you want your knocking point to be one arrow width above your arrow rest. So you'll see in a moment. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to take my knocking pliers, and all you do is you just put them on and you give them a squeeze. Now it's going to be very difficult, of course, for the camera to pick this up. So I'm going to do my best here to try to show you. So again, it's a C shape. You're going to hold it on with one finger. Do expect to have to fight with these. I may make it look easy, perhaps, but they are going to flip around and cause a mess. I'm going to take my arrow off. And now I have it here. I'm just going to pinch the top a little bit, just like this. There we go. Now you can see that guy is staying on there, right? The next thing I'm just going to take from the side, there's like a set of holes in this right there. I'm going to take one of those holes, I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to give her a squeeze, just like that. And now what that does is just sets that on there good and tight. Now, if you're an experienced shooter and you don't, and you know exactly that at all times you're going to be putting your knock point right there, that's okay. if you're using this with students or you're an inexperienced shooter and you may pick up this bow and say, do I nock it here or do I nock it here? Here's a good tip. You're going to put your arrow on and you're going to put another bead on it. So I'm going to take my second bead and I'm going to give it a little space and I'm going to nock it just like this. Now, when you look at this, you're going to follow the same process. Take my pliers and give this a little pinch, just like this. And now I'm going to take the circle in here and I'm going to just crimp it properly. There we go. Now that's on there. These guys aren't going to come off. Can you see that? We'll put the white there so you can sort of get a better view of it. Now, when my arrow goes on, when I go to nock that in the field, I have no question in my mind. Does it go up here or down here or anywhere? I know I put it on and snap it. Just like that. That's how you want it. Now, you'll notice that when I hold the bow up, that it is not straight. Again, it needs to be one arrow width above the straight line. And that, as I'll show you when I'm finished this video, is that is going to get your arrow nice and square. So that's it. So that's basically how you set a bow, or there's a few other methods that they call that, including tuning a bow. And that's basically how you tune it, is you want to make sure that you've got your beads and your nock point set. And that's it. Now, there's all different methods to do this with. This is the method that we use, but I'm always interested in hearing some of the methods that you use. So let's put this out so you guys can have a look at how it looks at full draw. So we're all beaded here, and we're going to nock up just like this. And again, I want to hear or feel that click sound. And now have a look at this. So now you can see that that arrow isn't totally straight on there. So now when I go to draw it, just like this, I'm going to draw it back, and it will straighten itself out. All right? So if I were to change the nocking point just for demonstration purposes, and I were to put that on here like this, now it's nice and straight, but as I draw my arrow, it's going to change how it looks, and it will not be as straight. So it's really important, like I said, if you're going to add these nocking devices on there, you want one arrow width above your center point. So that's it. It's pretty simple to tune your bow and to make sure that it is ready for use. Now, of course, like I say, this is our method. There are many other methods on the market that you can use, many other things that you can use other than the little metal beads. There's positives and negatives to each, but I showed you the simplest method possible. So I'm the Wolfman, and of course, if you're interested in archery lessons, you can go onto our website, barefootbushcraft.com, and I will put that URL right there. There we are. And I'm always interested in how other people do this. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.